We can cross now to Alex Macheras. He's an aviation analyst to get more on this. Alex, let's talk about the details that we do know at the moment. That's the 90-degree swerve to the left, the 360-degree turn to the right before contact was lost. Looking at that information, is there anything that we can read into it about the possible cause of this crash?
There is, yes, and good evening. Well, earlier today, we were told by the Egyptian Transport Minister that actually they're leaning more towards terrorism as a probable cause rather than a technical issue with the aircraft. And that doesn't really surprise me, as the aircraft involved was an Airbus A320, a very modern Airbus aircraft. An A320 either takes off or lands every 2.5 seconds around the world. So that just gives you some context and some background as to how often these aircraft are used. Now, in terms of what the developments we've had today, and as you mentioned, we're hearing that this aircraft fell 22,000 feet, the Greek minister said, and also swerved 360 degrees multiple times during that fall. Well, for me, it's important that we don't speculate too much out of respect for the families, but in terms of drawing similarities to previous events and to previous crashes, well, straight away, my gut instinct and my gut feeling was to relate it to an incident that an airliner had once when an explosive device exploded on board the aircraft, which ruptured the airframe, so the actual body of the plane, and that caused the aircraft to spiral to the ground, as a rupture to the airframe can be catastrophic and cause such a disruption in the airflow for the flight. And so for me, the fact that we've heard that, as well as the fact that actually this could be related to terrorism and that it's more likely to be terrorism than not, I think that means that it's definitely a probable cause. Of course, it's just speculation and we're not sure as of yet in terms of facts. We've only just had the crash site located and confirmed by EgyptAir.
You touched on the fact that some of the wreckage has been found there. The fact that some of the wreckage has been found already, does that give optimism that the black boxes will soon be discovered as well?
Hopefully, and this happened in the early hours of this morning, but really the key thing after survivors and after they decide that actually there aren't survivors, tragically, then the priority becomes, okay, we need to locate the black box, and that's consistent with all investigations and search and rescues after a crash. Now, here's why. The black box is home to the cockpit voice recorder and the flight data recorder. And these are two of the most revealing aspects in any air crash investigation. We'll be able to hear exactly what was going on in the flight deck, including, if any, loud noises such as a bang from a probable explosion. But also we'll be able to know exactly what this aircraft was doing performance-wise from the flight data recorder.
I know you said you don't want to speculate at this stage, but it does seem as the authorities are considering at least the idea that this was terrorism. If it was a bomb on board, serious questions must be raised about security levels at Charles de Gaulle Airport. How would it be possible to get something on board that could do this sort of damage?
Exactly, and this is the question, isn't it? We really would think that it isn't possible for something like this to happen, and so I actually hope that it doesn't turn out to be anything to do with Charles de Gaulle Airport, because we would like to think that Paris is as safe city as it can get at the moment, not just because it's a big city and a global hub, but in light of the past couple of years Paris has had with being beaten heavily by multiple terrorism to their capital. Now, if this is the case, for example, and like you were saying, a bomb, for example, if it did make its way onto an aircraft and they decided, and the developments show that actually it wasn't an explosion that brought down this an explosive device, then Paris Charles de Gaulle will be at the heart, among other airports, of a huge investigation. And we can really imagine that the spotlight will shift in terms of, okay, we have a rough idea what went on, but how on earth did that happen? And of course, it's speculation because we haven't had official word that there was a bomb on board, but they're saying that terrorism is more than likely than it being technical.
Okay, Alex Macheras, thank you very much for your time.